Bro, you are an addict. I remember fondly the first time that I was ever high because I was given an edible. This is how many people's first time getting high is. I hadn't gotten high from attempts to smoke weed before because it just would not make me high no matter how much I did it. Probably because I was smoking it incorrectly. And I took an edible and it fucked me up so bad that I was still blazed out of my skull while doing like a charity function at a church the next day. I was going with friends. They were doing some kind of like youth outreach big dinner. There were like 40 people in the church with the like benches out, and I was sitting at one end of it just like smiling, like staring directly forward, and my friends were like bodyguarding for me because if anyone came up to me to ask me a question or like say, oh hey, I remember you from class or whatever, they'd be like, oh hey, good to see you, 1 second, he's got heg or whatever. It's fuck. So I appreciate my friends looking out for me in those dire times. Pancakes were great. You literally, like, these edibles ain't shit. Yeah. I swear these people not only want to take drugs, they also want to feel good about it and get a pat in the back. It's so annoying. I just want people to accept, because like, again, I don't have an issue with a person being drunk. The thing that makes people who are drunk insufferable is when they start acting like they don't know they're drunk. Drunk people know that they're drunk. And drunk people know somewhere in the back or front of their mind that they are at a higher risk for being an annoying piece of shit. Usually, they should, at the very least. And the worst drunks are the people who overcompensate, you know? The kinds who lean in on you, who are overly familiar, who stumble over you, who, like, knock your drinks over, and they're like, oh, sorry, that my bad. And they try to, like, charisma their way through everything, but they can't because they're too drunk to understand how they sound. This is a detestable character archetype, you know? This is what I'm seeing in some of the weed users in chat. If you could just accept, yes, being high makes you high, you've got it, you're fine. No condemnation from me. Just fuck, you know? I wouldn't want to go to a bar with somebody who did that too. I remember really upsetting a friend once when I was acting that way while drunk. This was like a long time, like 8 years ago or something. Since then I basically just stopped. I tried to give him like a, oh, you're not mad at me, haha, hug, but I like stumbled and basically like hit him against a wall, like with my shoulder against him, and I'm much larger than he is, so it kind of hurt him a lot. And after that I felt really bad. And I just stopped doing that. It was a skill issue, and I willed myself into not acting like that while drunk anymore. So Vaush's hatred of drug use is a trauma response goal. No, I'm delightful when I'm drunk, thank you. Being high helps with focus and helps you get work done, Vaush, saying it's the same as alcohol as a cope. You capitalize every letter that you type, okay? Why should I trust you? No, I'm sorry, you're coping, I don't care. I'm not gonna argue with you on this. Like, what am I even gonna argue? How do we test that, you know? Do you drive better drunk? Nobody does. Nobody does. And nobody drives better high. Why do stoners think you can drive while high? What made them think that? You realize you're not fit for the road just because you're driving at 6 miles per hour on residential streets and avoiding other cars in the opposite lane with a 10-foot berth, right? You realize being careful doesn't necessarily mean you should be driving. It's because we wait for the stop sign to turn green. Yeah, exactly. Vaush, the only person I know who says I do my work better high only said that because they're addicted. That is like a big addict statement. Yeah, you need weed to do like your work, you know? Like, I don't know. That to me is like, because that's like the end stage of the insufferable and genuinely quite sad weed addict, when like you can't do anything high anymore. Like, why fall asleep sober when you can fall asleep high? Why have a meal sober when you can have a meal high? Why do anything sober when you can be high? And at that point, like the dependency is pretty crazy. It's past the point of alcoholism to a large extent, at least in terms of like proportion of your life taken up by inebriation. Because with some exceptions, like very rarely, I guess, like if you have a job or whatever, I feel like it's pretty difficult to be drunk all the time. But a lot of people are like high all the time. I guess there are people who are drunk all the time. Maybe in like Alaska or something. You'd have to hide it in a different way. Also, people can usually smell alcohol in your breath, whereas with weed, you can cover up the smell with the smell. Irrelevant. Vaush, a lot of artists have made amazing shit while on drugs. Snoop Dogg, come on, man. Your boy Combing, come on. Cope. Like, literally, like, first of all, people have made good stuff while on meth or drunk. Like, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything we're talking about, you know? Also, willing to bet, for the big creatives who are known for substance abuse, a lot of the work is done without the involvement of drugs. People like to overplay the influence of stuff like LSD or whatever, with like, oh, the Beatles did this or that. But in reality, the actual like bit-by-bit process of getting good at any talent, like whether that be singing or guitar or songwriting or whatever else, a lot of that takes a lot of thought and going over. I think that people really idealize the image of like a creative who's just high out their fucking mind all the time, and they're just like, whoa, and they're doing it all as like a creative masterpiece. But that's just generally not how it works, you know? There's, no matter what profession you're in, creative work is usually a process of discipline, talent, hard work, and, you know, consistency, not just like a flourish of drunken nonsense that turns out amazing. Harry Dubois was one of the greatest cops ever. He was high all the time. Not in my playthrough. What the fuck's wrong with you? Vaush again refusing to admit this live stream runs on caffeine. Why are you... I can't even tell how much of it is a bit anymore. I don't even know. This subject really does attract a truly extra... Wait, no, you're not doing a bit. Hold on, wait. We're looking at this person's chat messages before I inevitably fucking ban them. Vaush is hard coping right now. Caffeine and weed have the same addiction rate. Vaush, facts don't care about your feelings. CDC.gov, marijuana, health effects, addiction.html. Here's another article. Vaush keeps moving the goalpost. He first claimed caffeine is different from weed. He understood the addiction rate is the same. Now he's talking about how insufferable high people are. Vaush again refusing to admit that his live stream runs on caffeine. Bro, you are an addict. Only an addict would be this insistent on misinterpreting what I say on a live stream to defend their chosen drug. You haven't chatted in 2 years and you come in here getting angry about this. Get help. Unironically, I'm not joking. I'll give you a month with which to improve your life. Good luck. What if the detox kills him? You're right, with how much weed that guy smokes. Admitting the occasional use of drugs can give you a creative boost isn't the same as being Charles Bukowski, Vaush. I don't even know what position I'm meant to defend in response to that. I don't even know what's being argued about anymore. Hey, those are supposed to wake you the fuck up, Tempest. I don't know. Hold on. Vaush wants this guy to get off drugs, but if Vaush got off water, he'd be dead within a week. Yeah, water cells be like, okay, guys, just one more drink. I can go a while without it. I just... Oh, fuck, that's good. Yeah. So, what was I saying? Yeah. Good hit, bro. How do you feel about someone having to deal with weed and nicotine addiction? What is that? I don't know what you mean. Having to deal with addiction? Do you mean you just smoke weed? I don't know what you mean by that. Surprise, Vaush, your community has a lot of low self-esteem. Potheads have a lot of low self-esteem, presumably shadowboxing the echoes of their parents and their disapproving stares. They caught them smoking weed in the back porch when they arrived back from work early. Are cigarette smokers less trustworthy? Here's a question. Why do you care? What do you think the 78th qualification for me is going to in any way like further sculpt out the fucking the sculpture we're making? You know, that we're building a point here. Obviously, cigarettes don't affect your brain chemistry anywhere near as much, but nicotine addiction fucking gets you. You really not heard at all about like people who smoke and they like keep hitting other people up for smokes? They turn everything around them to sticky, grimy, yellow, you know, like disgusting smoker tinted. That people steal money for cigarettes all the time. That's not like a new thing or whatever. Yeah, that yes, addictions are a liability on your brain. Any dependency, any addiction will be a liability on your brain. And you know what? If it wasn't for the fact that I'm well off and this just isn't really like an issue that could manifest, if I was incapable of making the money to get my Adderall and you were around me and I had to choose between like hitting you up for money or taking it and like going unmedicated, yeah, you should trust me less, 100%. That's what addictions and dependencies or anything, frankly, that affects your brain chemistry does. That's the whole point. You know, this is one of the reasons why drug policy and the way we treat like drug use in a criminal justice sense are so important to fiddle around with and get right. A lot of people treat it like it's a personal failing or like a moral crime or whatever. But when you realize that in a lot of cases, it can be framed much more readily and helpfully as a medical issue, all of a sudden, all these stupid fucking points about how like, well, actually, all drugs, dependency doesn't matter. What do you mean? How can you hold those positions simultaneously? How can you simultaneously believe that addiction is a disease, but then also think that habitual use of a chemical substance that you're reliant on isn't harmful to you and doesn't affect your trustworthiness? Why then do so many drug addicts end up on the streets? I know a lot of them get high after ending up in the streets, but it definitely goes both ways there. Like, why then are there so many stories of people like falling into addiction and stealing from their friends and family? Like, it's not new and it's not crazy. I just feel like a lot of you are just fucking insecure because you smoke pot from time to time and you're getting mad at me because you think I'm attacking you. I'm not. I don't care. I don't care. Smoke whatever. I don't care. I'm not your friend. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck, okay? Oh, I hope you smoke so much weed that it convinces you that it's a good idea to donate to me, in spite of the fact that argue with me through donuts. That's what I want. Okay, I'm sick of it. I don't know what you people want from me. I don't know. I can't say anything. I'm fucking bound here. You know.